Hi, everybody. I am Callie Van Elst, and we are here with Wax Talk by Prawn Go. Listen to the end. We have a very exciting guest today. Be sure to use our promo code. You can shop on Cerepill.com, and you can use the code PRPodcast30 for shopping and for a really good discount. Today, we have Julio Mendez with us, and he is Chicago's first ever male esthetician. I hope I got that right. And so welcome, Julio. How are you today?
Thank you. I am doing really well. Nice and rested from my big trip from Atlanta that I recently went to. And I'm feeling great. I'm excited to be here today.
Awesome. Tell everyone who you are and what you do, because I know who you are and what you do, and I know you do a lot of things, but
Oh,
some people may, yeah, but some people may not be as familiar with who you
sure.
are. So tell us all about yourself.
So my name's Julio Mendez, and I am recognized as Chicago's first male esthetician. I'm going on about 25 years with my aesthetic license. I'm also a cosmetologist. I have my cos license. And during COVID, I went and got my aesthetics educator license. And I own a business called Waxman Spa. We're going into our 13th year in business. And I love education, so a lot of the time I spend traveling, and I'm the brand ambassador with PFB Vanish. I also run a male esthetician support group on Facebook, and I love to support other people in this industry, whether they're male or female, but especially men because we are starting to become more popular, I think, in this industry and realize the benefits of wellness and self care.
Yeah, I think that men could really learn from you, male estheticians, because it's becoming more common, still not common, but more common. But I think it's really hard, especially for men who, let's say you're the client and you want to go get a Brazilian and maybe you want a male esthetician. It's not easy to find. Still, I think it's becoming more common, but I think that's great because I think that you can add support for people who really want to offer these services and are like, unsure how to do it or what to do, not to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do some training, and when I do the, the big skin games or the conventions that I go to, I try to do classes and offer education and support and explain, the process, but
Hmm.
also the good sides, the bad sides, the craziness that can come with it, um, and just give them as much advice as I possibly can.
Yeah, I used to do male Brazilians all the time, and then it just started getting a little complicated for me. Even here in training, I feel like my models, I would always, really emphasize that we're in a professional environment. My studio, I think you've been, we're in a professional building, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it is not, we're very professional. And even with explaining to the models, like this is a professional environment, we're a very high end brand. And they're very clear on it. Still, things would go weird, and I'm like, oh god, like this is just
Yeah.
kind of complicated, but I don't think it always has to be. And I know I've learned from a lot of estheticians, like I'm sure this is what you teach, like there's things that they do now that make it safer and they get people's driver's license and all
Oh
kinds
yeah.
of safety precautions, which I think is great. So what really want to talk about though today is you mentioned that you are now an educator for a ingrown hair line, PFB, correct? It's
Yeah.
like PFB Vanish, right?
Yes.
Like I've never called it that. Like everyone just calls it PFB, like PFB, and I'm like, wait, are we supposed to say PFB Vanish?
Well, hopefully, because that's what they're doing, right? They're gonna make those little ingrown hairs disappear.
Vanish, so
Um,
that's why they call it that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
And a
it.
lot of people don't know what the PFB stands for.
What does it stand for? I don't know.
Pseudofolliculitis barbae.
Uh-uh. Awesome. Okay, for people listening that don't know what that is, explain it because we
Okay.
know, but not everyone knows.
So basically, pseudofolliculitis barbae is the term or the technical term for ingrown hairs, right?
Hmm.
Especially for men, like in the beard area or those thick, coarse hairs. And so they decided to call their line just PFB Vanish because
Hmm.
they have these great products that help the ingrown hairs to come out through the skin and to also brighten the skin.
Yeah,
So it's an amazing line, but that's what PFB stands for.
that's awesome. Like, I'm from the generation where we only had, I mean, you probably maybe too, but like we only had back in the day 10 skin.
Yes,
And in the very beginning of time, in the aesthetic world, the 10 skin, well, now they have it in a roll on, but back in the day, it was like, remember, it was like a spray, I think,
yeah, it was
and
like a liquidy.
it would take your nail polish off.
Oh,
Yeah, it was bad. So I was like, okay, I can't have my clients ruining their manicure. So
yeah,
then I think PFB Vanish became, I think it's probably the most popular ingrown hair product right now, I feel.
it is. It is. It's. I've actually been with them almost 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
They are an amazing family that owns the company, and
Mm-hmm.
they're actually going to their second generation right now. So the
Oh,
owners, Otmar and Jax, are passing the company down to their daughter, Alexis. And
mm-hmm.
so when we travel now, everyone's getting to meet her and her husband, Max. They actually just found out they're having a baby.
Aw,
Yeah. So I'm like,
that's
come on, little
awesome.
baby roll-ons for everybody, right?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And so they're bringing the line into a new generation, and they're starting to make some changes and make the product line more gender neutral as well.
I like that.
So it's not just for men or for women; it's for everybody. You know.
So it used to be mostly for like beards, right? Or like nape of the neck for men when
Yeah.
they're shaving or yeah. But I
Yeah.
think now people use it a lot for Brazilian waxing.
They do. I mean,
Hmm.
Brazilian waxing underarms. It's a big one for
Oh
underarms,
yeah,
especially
yeah, yeah.
for people of color.
Oh, for sure.
They wax, they do laser or even electrolysis, or
Hmm.
even just shaving, and they get like these little dark spots.
Yeah.
They get the bumps. They start picking at them. But
Wait.
especially on that Brazilian line too, it can get really bad.
So you're okay. Wait. So it just sorry, it just clicked in my head. So it's what is the ingredient in it that's good for like the ingrown part, like the exfoliation?
So the main ingredient that has is willow bark, which is a
Okay.
form of salicylic acid.
Hmm.
And so, I try to explain to people that salicylic acid is kind of like a little broom. It kind of like sweeps
Hmm.
out that pore and like cleans it out. And so, and it helps exfoliate that top layer of dead skin. And then they have this other star ingredient called Chromobright, which helps to brighten the skin as well. So there's a couple ingredients they have that are really amazing.
That's what I was just going to ask you because when you said when sometimes they get the pigment because after they get an ingrown, sometimes there's a little bit of pigment left
Yeah.
over. And so what other brands don't have is something to brighten the skin after. So sometimes people will come to me and they just have hyperpigmentation and dark spots on their Brazilian everywhere,
Yeah.
but no ingrowns. So that is phenomenal that it does both.
And I think compared to most other brands that have a ingrown hair treatment, usually it's just loaded with alcohol, and
Yeah.
so with the willow bark, it kind of helps to really set them apart a little bit, and then again, the brightening ingredients make a big difference.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mhm.
So, okay, so let's talk about okay, so a lot of times for our podcast, we are like we're geared towards licensed professionals. A lot of times we have students that are listening or people who we also have a lot of cosmetologists that listen, but they're going back to waxing maybe and
Yeah.
they, have to brush up on their knowledge. But let's talk about ingrowns. Why do they happen?
They can happen for several reasons. First of all, it can definitely happen from waxing or hair removal. And I try to explain to my clients that it's really normal for it to happen after waxing because a lot of them freak out. They're like, oh my God, maybe, the waxing person didn't remove the hair the right way or something happened. And I'm like, well, actually, what's happening is we're thinning out your hair, right? So as we thin out the hair, it can't get through the skin. It's trying to
Hmm.
struggle. So it can cause an ingrown hair. You can also
True.
get them from just having coarse, curlier hair. Um,
Hmm.
and definitely not from not exfoliating the right way. So
Hmm.
if you're one of those people that's just like, I scrub, I just rub the washcloth over my skin, that's not going to cut it. You really do need to exfoliate your skin a few times a week, and also hydrate your skin, right? So
Hmm.
that the skin can be soft enough and those hairs can start to grow out.
Yeah, I
It saves
agree.
my hands a lot.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love for ingrowns, I love a physical and chemical exfoliation both.
Ooh, you would love their
Uh,
liquid loofah scrub then.
ooh, I would. I didn't even know they had that.
Yes. Yes, they have a scrub that goes with their products, and basically it has crushed walnut, it has
Mm,
6% glycolic acid, and it has
mm.
papaya enzyme. So it's a chemical and a physical exfoliator.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Absolutely.
salicylic for the ingrowns, and I love glycolic for exfoliate. That's just my
Oh
go-to
yeah.
always.
Yeah.
I feel like ingrowns, yeah, sometimes the hair is too fine, sometimes it's too curly, sometimes there's more than one hair coming through
Yes,
the
yes.
follicle.
Don't we love those?
Yeah. And yeah, sometimes there's like three or four, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
whoa. And sometimes I do feel like it could be from like maybe incorrect technique with waxing, sometimes maybe a low quality strip wax. I see it all the time where people come in and like the hair is completely broken off. Or I'm
Yes.
sorry, I get excited. Sometimes I see on like the esthetician like groups in social media, people will post like this girl recently, and I don't like to call people out because everyone's learning,
Mhm.
but it was like she posted this picture of a back wax where the entire back you could see all the different like the hair was completely broken off. There was a lot of long hairs left, and she's like, oh, he's so broken out, what do you think happened? And I'm like, oh, no, no, which is actually one of the reasons I wanted to do this. I'm like, do people not still know that you can break hair, and then when you
Yeah.
break the hair it's going to cause an ingrown? But anyway, it's
One thing
crazy.
I also when I'm waxing someone, and or whether I'm with my client or I'm teaching someone, that first pull that I do, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
let's look at this strip. I'm like, let's look at
Yeah.
it and let's see, are there follicles on it? So I tell my guys, if you cheat on me, I want you wherever you go, ask the esthetician to show you that first strip. And if you don't see those little white follicles on there, that means that they might have broke the hairs.
Yeah,
And you'll
true.
know if they broke the hairs because within a week the hairs are growing back. You're getting bumps, you're getting breakouts, and
Yeah.
that's broken hairs, and so that's not good.
Yeah, this is a funny story. When I left, I don't leave the industry. Like I still do clients, but not as often
Mm.
because I am full time working for Prom or Go. But I remember my clients were freaking out because I, like I've had my clients for 20 years or so, and so one of my clients was like, "Oh my God, like thank God I think I found someone. I just got waxed and it did not hurt at all." She was like, I think it hurt even less than when you do it," which mine are like kind of famous for not hurting that
Yeah.
much. Um but in my mind, I was like, "Oh no, oh no, no, no!" Like, 'cause she said she felt nothing, like it should didn't hurt at all, and I'm like, "Oh yikes!" Swear to God, it was like 4 to 5 days later. She sends me a picture, and it was like I have never seen so much irritation. All the hair broke off. Like literally every hair broke off. And when that happens, I mean, you're looking at like you can't resolve that within a couple of days. This
Oh
is going to
no.
be a process, right? So I was like, oh no. But yeah, you need to see the follicle. And you know what else happens that I think is interesting? And if people don't know, if people don't know this, that the scrub you were talking about might be nice. But sometimes when I remove a piece of wax, I see the follicles, right? So I'm like,
Mhm.
awesome. I got every hair from the follicle. This is great. But sometimes you look at the skin and there's these little white, like, not dots, but like little white things right left on the skin. It's the sac that goes around the follicle that sometimes is left behind, right? And
Wow, yeah.
if you leave those, that client is probably going to break out because the skin is trying to push that out, but it just wasn't somehow for some reason attached to the follicle. So what I always do is I do like a quick like cleanup piece of wax and make sure that none of those are left behind. But they could certainly, if they didn't go to me and someone else left that behind, they would have to exfoliate like immediately after. I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody says with ingrown hair products, right? Like most of the manufacturers will say, and when you read the packaging, it's going to say, don't use this product for 24 to 48 hours after waxing. But I'm like that it seems counterintuitive, but if you use it immediately after,
Mhm.
it works the best. But it just burns a little.
It
it's
changes
just,
a little bit.
it's just going to burn a little bit, but it's going to be great. So I don't know. What do you say about that?
So, definitely because of the alcohol content in these
Hmm.
products,
Yeah.
the alcohol content is a good thing because it helps the product evaporate.
Hmm.
It also cuts the bacteria in the product. So, like with the
Hmm.
roll-ons, people use them. They're like, is it going to transfer bacteria? No, because there's the alcohol content. But
Oh,
yeah, so
say
it
that.
helps
Say
keep it
say.
sanitary.
Okay. Okay.
But
Hmm.
they make a product called Wild Peppermint and Rose Glow, and
Hmm.
those are like soothing creams. And so what I
Hmm.
do is I make a little cocktail. So I'm
Hmm.
like, you can dilute the ingrown hair treatment with a little bit of like a cream or something if you really want to prevent the sting. But I agree with you. I'm like,
Mm.
you should use it right away. I wouldn't wait, especially not 48 hours. That's way too long.
It's too long. It's you missed the window of.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of cocktailing products, and it's so hard because I feel like, especially if you're educating like a student, right? Like they really need. I mean, not. I mean, they're smart people, but in the beginning, it's hard because they really need like clear cut instructions, right? Like
Yeah.
do this, step one, step two, step three. But it's almost like cooking, right? Or like if you're a chef, like you need to learn what works and what doesn't, and you can create something that works best for your client.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of cocktailing products.
Everyone's separate. Everyone's different, and some people, their
Mm-hmm.
skin, it shows very sensitive right away.
Mm-hmm.
I love when I wax someone and it's like, oh, there's like nothing wrong. Like there's no
I
irritation. Their skin
know.
looks amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
you're not even pink.
yeah, it's just totally normal. It's like that movie, Bad Mom's Christmas, and she's like rips the wax off, and the guy's like,
Right? Oh my
oh
gosh.
yeah, it's hilarious, but it does happen, and it's great to see that when no one has irritation, but a lot of people do have irritation. So you do want to use a product right away. And the idea of like behind someone getting a facial and getting a microderm treatment or anything like that, and right away you put product on, right?
Yeah,
You want the skin to absorb it.
that's a really good example.
Yeah,
Actually, that's the best time to put product on.
yeah, you want the skin to absorb it. It's gonna work
Mm-hmm.
better. And so, yeah, you might have a little tingle, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
like your skin's gonna fall off or anything like that.
People are always like, "Can I do a microderm and a facial?" I'm like, yeah."
Yeah, and a
And it will be the
microneedling.
best. Yeah. You're like me. Like, I mean, let's just keep going deeper into while still staying in the epidermis.
Why not?
Why not? Okay, I have a question. So a lot of this is something. Okay, so I do waxing classes here. So I'm at Pronrogo Institute. We're like just north of Chicago. We do hands-on, in-person classes here,
Mhm.
and I have in my waxing class. I have this photo of of like it's an ingrown hair, right? And it's like clearly like a little infected, but you know how you can see the hair through the skin kind of. So
Oh
I
yeah.
put yeah, it's exciting. So I put it up on the monitor and I say to everyone in the class, "Can you wax over that?" So what is the answer? Can we wax over an ingrown hair?
I believe you can. I would go for it. But I would say that, when I have clients that come in and maybe they're coming in too soon or,
Mhm.
they've got a lot of ingrown hairs, I'm like, we really need to treat this, right? You need to
Mhm.
exfoliate. We need to get you on a regimen. Um, and if I can wax, I will wax them because
Mhm.
they're in that process with all the different hair growth, and maybe they're on different levels of hair growth, and so
Yeah.
I'm like, let's get it done. But what do you think?
Well, so technically, if it's, let's say it's infected, right? Like where
Okay,
you
yeah,
can see, then you're probably going to go around it. But
yes,
for just your regular ingrowns, honestly, this is just I always say follow your own state's rules and regulations, because we're just here for entertainment.
Yeah.
But I will say that I love to wax over ingrown hairs as long as they're not infected, because I feel like the heat and the exfoliation, they're going to come right out.
They usually do. They
I
usually do.
mean,
And yeah, you're right.
yeah,
With an infect anything that's infected, especially if it's
yeah,
yellowy or anything like that,
yeah. You just
stay
avoid
away
it.
from it.
Hmm.
Also, if there's scabs, if there's any type
Yeah,
of
true.
abrasion on the skin, you want to either go around it, or cover it with a little oil, some kind of occlusion, so that it doesn't. Also, we get a lot of clients who have skin cancer, right? They get
Oh, yeah, yeah,
fungal.
yeah.
So I'm like, we're gonna go
Mm,
around this because if I wax over that, I can cause you to bleed or that skin
hmm.
to lift, and that's the last thing I want is to damage your skin more.
I mean, this is just a complete like side bar, but so when I started in this industry, which was a very long time ago, I used to say how many years, but now it's so horrifying. I just say a very, very long time. But at any rate, it was very, I mean, I did a lot of clients. I'm sure as you do, like every month, I did a lot of clients, and it was very, very rare for me to see skin cancer. And I mean, like, not your squamous or basal, because that's like
Sure.
so common. I mean, not common, but it wasn't even common then. But melanoma, like, it was rare, like, rare, rare, rare. Or even a client telling you that they were diagnosed with melanoma or they had something removed. And I swear now, I mean, I don't even say it's like you see it sometimes, it's like I see it often.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know if there's research or if there is out there a dermatologist or someone that does any kind of research into melanoma, but what is going on? Like, is it the ozone? I know some people say that they don't believe in our current SPF. And they think that I mean, people have all these theories, but
Mm.
in my mind, I'm like, there's something going on because it, it's all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I see
And
it all the
so
time.
it's
Um, I
crazy.
think people just don't wear a lot of SPF, like, and they
Yeah.
should believe in it. They should use it.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, I see people that never wear it at all.
Hmm.
I can tell the big difference, or maybe they grew up in a climate that was very sunny.
Yeah.
Um, but the people that have worn it, you definitely can see a difference. I've worn SPF pretty much, as long as I could have. If
Hmm.
not, I had makeup on. I think makeup always helps to
Yeah.
kind of blur out the sun when you're out there.
Yeah.
So makeup wearers usually tend to have actually a little bit better skin than people who don't
True.
wear makeup.
Especially now because the makeup a lot of times has SPF in it.
Yes, the makeup has SPF, but you really need to put like 5 layers of that makeup on to get the SPF.
True, true, to get what you need. But when I was younger and like literally like basking in the sun day after day, like we didn't really, I mean, we didn't have SPF, and we didn't, certainly didn't use it. It was like a 4, right? It was like
I
your
was just gonna say
copper tone.
that the
It was
banana
like
boat oil with
oil.
SPF
Yeah.
4. I was like,
Right.
oh
It was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, it
this
was
is
like
great.
oil to not to protect you, but to deepen your
Yeah.
tan. But it's going to be interesting to see because I know, like, I have a daughter who's like, teenager. And even I think some maybe millennials, because it's been really more common to keep your skin fair. Like they don't want the sun to touch their skin. They want to stay pale and fair, and they're using a lot of sunscreen. I think it's going to be really interesting in about 20 years to see because
Yeah.
they are not going to age. Because it's really, I mean, aside from like the aging of the skin is really coming from, yes, toxins, smoking, which is also kind of becoming not so common.
Yes.
Um, maybe
Pollution, the
pollution,
environment.
environment, yeah. Maybe not getting enough sleep or having a stressful
Yes.
life. There are other reasons for a diet. There's a lot of reasons, but the sun exposure is really like number one. And with people cutting back on that and using SPF, it makes me happy. But unfortunately, it's too late for me. But you know what? I had a lot of fun. I love the sun, and I had fun, and I just pray that I don't
I'm a
get skin
big
cancer.
advocate for my clients, especially if they're very hairy and we're
Yeah.
waxing them or trimming them
Mm-hmm.
down, doing the manscaping. I'm like, just want to let you know that this is a great time, or maybe for the next time that you come to see me, to also book with your doctor and get a
Mm-hmm.
body check, skin check, because you've probably never done it, and you're very hairy, and
Yeah.
you really can't see what's underneath that hair. So the next time we do a full body wax, or even just manscaping, why don't you schedule yourself to get a skin check? Because there's a couple areas here that I see could
Mm.
be questionable. And that's probably as far as I go, because I
Yeah.
can't prescribe or diagnose anything.
It's so funny that you say that. I was just looking over to one of our assistants here because just yesterday we did a video of a man. This is exactly what happened. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny you're saying that. So he came in, we were doing some video, and he was like very, very hairy, like where you couldn't really see, the skin
Yeah,
underneath there, like real hairy. But he had so many, just like little moles, and that I was like, oh, these, in my head, I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, these do not look good. And there was just a few where I was like, ay ay ay, like in my mind I'm like, there's something wrong with this one, but I would not say that. But I did say,
yeah,
when have you had your skin checked for skin cancer? Because really everyone needs to go once per year, like everybody. um
you're like,
I
I
can't
strongly suggest you
I
go in.
strongly suggest. Usually I don't want someone to panic, and I'm just like, no, like there's no, because it takes a minute. I mean, to get in a lot of, it depends on where you live, but here it takes a minute to get into the dermatologist. So I'm like, you don't have to, it's not like an emergency, but like, make your appointment. So at least in a couple months, you have it. Every once in a while, when it's something that I'm real concerned about, I might be like, you might want to call this week. Just get
You're
a
like,
check. And they're happy. And usually those are the times when they're like, oh my God, thank you so much.
yeah.
Um,
I've had
but
clients come back to me and tell me like,
yeah.
I went and got that skin check, and I had HPV. I had
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they had it fixed, they had it removed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that always warms my heart, because I helped them prevent something that could have been way more
Mm-hmm.
serious.
Oh, I mean, that's our work, right? That's what we do.
Yeah, and I,
I
I
know
have
people.
clients that
Mhm.
come in, and I had a client last week. He's like, "Don't look at me, don't look at me." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because right through here, he had a huge section cut out."
Mhm.
And he's like, I had some skin cancer removed, and I'm embarrassed. It's on my face." And I'm like, "Well, you've been coming to me for 10 years, and that's why I tell you to wear that SPF to really
Yeah.
protect your skin."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Don't worry, we have other treatments to fix that little scarring now too,
Yeah.
so we'll
True.
still see you."
I mean, and that's the thing, the sooner that they can get it taken care of, the better.
Yeah,
That's the thing that people don't understand with skin cancer is it can be disfiguring because they have to keep going deeper and deeper to be
yeah,
sure that they've removed all the tissue. It's unbelievable.
yeah.
I mean, I could talk about this for hours, but
Me too.
okay. So, anything else that you want us to know about ingrowns or anything you want to talk about?
I think with the ingrown hairs, I tell people they're kind of like pimples sometimes. It's like, don't pick at it so much. If you do try to get something, make sure your hands are totally clean and sanitized. Make sure
True.
you're not digging in there with like tweezers that are rusted. um, you
That's
know,
true.
do it after a shower, maybe when your skin is soft and clean, or add it onto your next service, because we have it as
Hmm.
an add-on service. You can add it onto any facial treatment. You can add it onto any waxing treatment, even manscaping. We have an add-on for ingrown hair treatments.
Oh
So
my God, that's awesome. So, what do you do? Like a mask and
yeah, we just do
extraction,
a nice
or?
cleansing. We do a hot towel, and
Mhm.
we just kind of soften that skin a little bit. And of course, I'm not going to go to town and like pull every hair out that
Mm.
you have. But the ones that are super major, I love when they have like the little black spot on them, and they just kind of like squeeze right
They
out.
just come
And
right out.
yeah,
So it's
here's
very,
the
very
SD talk, right? It's
satisfying.
like,
Yeah.
ooh, and like I push on it, and
So
it just comes right out like a little
so
worm,
easy.
or
I
you pull it out and
know.
it's like a curl, and you're like, ooh, there it is. If you can pull it out, and I put on like a little 4x4, and I'm like, this is what it was.
Oh
Look,
my God. I'm always like, do you want to see it? And like
yes,
and you get two different people because the one person is like, oh my God, I have to see it. And the other person is like looking at you like you're insane. Like,
yeah. They're
why
like,
would
don't
you
show
even
it to me.
ask?
It's so gross. And they
Like,
go,
why are
"Ugh."
you
And you're like,
asking me
usually
that?
you're a big Marine Corps veteran or something, like, oh, they're so nasty, and you're like, come on, you're
You're like,
tattooed, you're like big old macho man, and they're like, it hurts.
I
Oh.
know, right? They can't handle it.
But I love it. Yeah, it's a great thing to do, and it's just part of the services, right? It
Uh,
happens.
It's the best. It's the
So
best part. It has been a pleasure having you.
thank you.
It's so great to see you. I know that we're both local,
Yes,
and so yes, it's I did not forget, but I do think at some point we'll like go out for a little coffee or
we do,
something.
and I have some presents for you. So I do have to see if I can give you some gifts. So
Oh, yay! I love presents.
yes, yes.
When you come to our booth, I'll have like some a little bag for you. So
Ooh.
use what you wish.
Okay.
Seropill is of course
Yeah,
the
when I started
best.
working, when I got trained with Jack Dunn,
Yeah.
I was at the professional hair removal conference years ago in Texas, and
Yeah.
I got to meet Jack and worked with him a little bit, and he's amazing. I stay in contact with him, and so we kiki back and forth sometimes. I
Ah.
know he loves Reese's because they don't really have them
London.
in the UK, so
Yeah.
I'm always like, I have some Reese's for you when you come to
Ah.
Chicago.
He's the best. He truly is the best.
He's amazing. I love him.
Yeah, me same. Everybody. Well, you guys have a lot in common because you both really cater towards male waxing, and it's not common.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you guys have a promo code for which we will put in the show notes for anyone if you're driving or listening.
Mhm.
Don't worry, you can wherever you're listening to your podcast, if it's like Spotify or wherever, Apple Play or whatever, all the show notes will be there. But I think that if I'm not mistaken, PFB Vanish, you have a promo code for them for 10% off any order at pfbvanish.com. And the code is WAXMAN,
Yes,
WAXMAN, all caps. You are Waxman because your spot is Waxman Spot, right?
yes.
Did
And
we already
they
talk
just
about
redid
that?
their website, so it looks amazing. It's super easy to
Ooh,
navigate. But yeah, just
yeah.
use that code. It's live,
Hmm.
it's ready, and
Awesome.
enjoy a nice little discount on your next order.
Ah, that's so nice and so great because I think oh wait, I have one quick question before we
Yeah,
pop off. So PFB Vanish is a professional and retail
they are
or
professional.
just
They do retail in spas and salons.
awesome. Okay. That
Yes.
was my question because I'm like I know some products are really retail, it's like like that's great because every client I okay, this is what I do and I know we're saying goodbye, but one more thing. What I do, especially if it's a first time wax for a man, especially cuz really if you're waxing a man, it's not always, but it's either going to be like chest, back, neck, intimate area, right? And all
Yes.
those areas are very sensitive. And I think that if it's a new client and their first time, they have to go home with product. So I always like build it in and
Mhm.
it's like you because they don't have a choice. You have to take
Yeah.
it and you have to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely they need to grab that product on their way out because
Yeah.
they won't. And so the nice thing with PFP as well is that they have different sizes. So for your client that is like, I'm not sure, they have like little baby mini ones for $5.
Oh,
They
that's
have a two
good.
ounce, which is TSA friendly, a 4 ounce,
Oh,
and then they just came out with the 8 ounce, which is for your really strong users that love to use it all the time. And then of course they have back bar. So,
awesome.
for your professionals, they can get the back bar bottles. I mean, you could sell your back bar bottles, which are
Hmm.
big 16-ounce gallon bottle, they're
Yeah,
big
it's too
bottles.
much. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, just pour it on every night. Um,
Yeah.
but they have different options for everyone. They're really strict about anyone selling that on eBay. Like
Oh,
they will take it off the market, Amazon as well. And so they really do cater to professionals so that
hmm.
you can only get that product through a professional because it is strong. You don't need a whole lot. And if you don't teach your client how to use it, they're going to be flaky skin, overuse. And so yeah, a little bit goes a long way. And yeah, they really love supporting people too with training and education. And you can always reach out to me here in
Yeah.
Chicago. Send me an email, a
Yeah.
text, or something.
Where do they find you? We'll put it in the show notes, but just
Okay. So my spot is located in Chicago in the Ravenswood area, which is up north, and that's on 1744 West Lawrence Avenue. Of course, it's waxmanspa.com. We have a new text messaging option on the business line, so you can send me a text. Um, and of course, all the social media, Instagram, LinkedIn is one of my favorites to use. I'm still an old school Facebook user, so
Yeah. What is your Instagram?
it's Waxman Spa.
Waxman Spa.
Yeah.
I know. You know what? This is how this whole podcast came to be is because I saw you on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, come
And
on, Abby.
yeah, I was like, "Oh my God," because I remember you and I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." And
I
so
love
I
you.
thought,
Like I always read your
"Oh,
articles, I share them,
oh,
and I am just like, this lady is amazing, Miss
oh."
Reynolds. So,
Mm.
the information that you provide professionally is such a resource. And I make sure that my estheticians read that. I'm
Oh,
like, I wish I could get this all
my
into
heart
hers,
is
but
warm.
no, we love you. So, or here's
Oh
the
my
new one,
God.
right? They're doing the little hearts.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so so yeah, I
Oh
can't
my
wait to meet
God.
you and give you some products and have a
Yeah.
coffee.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the kind words. It really makes me feel like, I do a lot of things and some days I'm like, is it making a difference? And when I
oh
hear
yeah,
that kind of feedback, I'm like, oh, maybe,
definitely,
it's
definitely make a
worth
big
it.
difference.
Thank you so much. Well, it was a pleasure. And thank you so much for
Me too.
being here today.
Anytime. Thank you.